うるさい。うるさ。うるさい。
Wow, I don't think I've ever clapped after a show recently. Oh my gosh. Let's see. You deserve to be loved. I deserve to be loved. All of us deserve to be loved. We are worthy. We are humans and we matter. Hello, friends. My name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist and yapper in chief. My theory behind the meaning of Takopi's original sin from episode 3 was proven in last week's video of episode 5, which was really cool for me. But also, can we talk about how mind-boggling and confusing the timelines were last week? What the heck? Not to mention the plot twist and the unbelievable writing of Marina being Takopi's first subject of happiness, or in other words, first love, and Takopi traveling back in time to kill Shizuka, who later became Takopi's new companion, new subject of love. Unbelievable and absolutely mind-blowing. Athathan Nation Zero is a sponsor to your highlights of today's video, and shout out to all the Patreon family and YouTube members that joined our channel for early access, unedited videos, and Discord community. Sit back and I hope you enjoy the season finale, episode 6. Now we're starting with flashback and memory recall of Shizuka's family, and sounds like the marital conflict Shizuka's mom and dad were having. And I can truly relate to this and resonate with me deeply because me and my younger sister are also byproduct and the result of a parental divorce. And according to every clinical literature, developmentally or otherwise, divorce is one of the most traumatic experiences for children. And it does count as one of the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, right here. Children with high ACEs score can predict their future health problems, mental health wise, physical health wise, comorbidities, heart disease, and so on. And divorce is very traumatic for children because a lot of children, like myself, who are parentified, right here, parentification, children who are raised as if they're parents, children who gave up their innocence and childhood to step up to the plate of a parent because of broken family, children who are parentified, like myself, we internalize and we categorize parents divorcing as our fault. It must be me. I did something wrong, that mommy's leaving, daddy's leaving. But of course, it's never the children's fault. It's the parents as adults making their own choices based on whatever the circumstances. There's no judgment, but that is another reason why divorce can be even more traumatizing for children because of that impact. Oh, Chappie when he was younger. Oh, Chappie RIP, dude. He was never revealed explicitly in the show, but obviously Chappie didn't go to Tokyo, where the father was, who not only forgot about Shizuka's existence, never told his new family about Shizuka, and he got a new dog and completely abandoned Chappie, Shizuka, and even the existence of Chappie. But look at how adorable Chappie was. RIP.
意地悪のない学校。でも本当は何が欲しかったんだっけ？
That was very deep. That's a callback to episode 1, where Shizuka is like, I no longer believe in magic. Because what's the point? There's no hope. Nothing will change. This is the origin of that callback. I used to wish upon the sky and pray and wish that my daddy wouldn't leave. Even way before when she was in 4th grade, which is the most recent 2016 timeline. I don't exactly know how old Shizuka is in that scene, but her innocence, her ability to believe in magic, fantasy, the good things, like making wishes, that ability has been killed, pun intended. Or is it too soon? Since she was young. because her dad never returned. And in the previous episodes, recently we learned that her dad flat out denied her existence. But can you even imagine that level of trauma and devastation for Shizuka? A survivor and a victim of so many trauma and abuses. Unspeakable. A quick capture of what Takopi represents, since this is the season finale. And I know I overanalyze and there's a lot of content in each video, so this is a quick convenience for everyone. Takopi evolved from originally representing toxic positivity syndrome, trying to invalidate people, although meanwhile, by trying to fix them, fix their mindset, throwing gadgets to the problem, hedonic pursuits, more, fix, things. But of course, things do not create happiness, relationships, emotions, holding space, acknowledging people, making them feel seen and heard. That creates happiness. Second, Takopi's original sin, disobedience born out of innocence, disobeyed its mother's wish to reset, rebirth, ripening out memories by escaping through the time clock that we saw in episode 5. That's disobedience, but also disobeying the rules of never lending out happy gadgets without supervision. It's gradual growth with reconciling with the consequences of killing Marina, learning that every action has consequences. There is a big difference between intention and impact. And we've seen some growth by Takopi because, as one viewer suggested, that Takopi's voice actor is known for voice acting for 3 to 5 year olds. And it's been very clear that Takopi is also a child or a baby developmentally per this pink octopus happy and alien species developmental stages. So obviously I've never faulted Takopi because it represents naive, but still innocence nonetheless. And it means well, it wants to try its best.
マリナちゃんをハッピーにするため地球に戻ったのに久世静香のハッピーじゃないんだっぴ。
何言ってるかわかんねえよ。異常に容量を得ないなお前。
だから静香ちゃん探しに行こっぴ。目が覚めたらいなくなってて。東くんは
僕は行けないよ。行けないんだ。僕はもう久世さんには会えない。
Why?
お前と会うのもこれで最後だ。お母さんショックで寝込んじゃってさ。お父さんが戻ってきてくれてるけど病院どうなるかも分かんないし、これ以上迷惑かけられないんだ。
なんでそんなこと言うんだっぴ。嫌だっぴ。行かないでほしいっぴ。くんは僕と遊ぶの楽しくなかったっぴ。
Oh, Takopi's so cute. Nah, P. You're gonna make me so sad, P. Oh. Takopi's really cute. But did you see that Azuma blushed once again? Because remember what I talked about with Azuma. His self-worth and self-esteem is extremely predicated and reliant upon people's praises, people's approval. Because at home, his mother's love, the love that matters the most, is conditional based on achievements. So it's partial love. It's conditional love. Unbelievable trauma also for Azuma. And we've seen that shaping Azuma's behaviors, tendencies, on and on again. But here, because of that, Takopi holding onto Azuma's hands, pleading him not to leave. Didn't you have fun with me, P, Azuma-kun? And that's why we see Azuma blushing, because he feels wanted. He feels belonged. He feels that he is a meaningful member of this relationship and community. Azuma just felt that he made an impact, a positive impact, and that Azuma felt that he matters. That's the one thing all humans are striving for. We matter. What I do matters. What I contribute to society matters. What I do for my family and friends matters. Being matters. Pun intended. And Azuma, again, here also demonstrates parentification, which is what I talked about in the introduction. Right here, again. Parentification means a child is forced to be parentified to step up to the plate of an adult, even though children should be children. Anytime we see children acting really mature, oh, you're so mature for your age. It's not really a compliment. Yes, adults use that as a compliment, but in reality, it's a display of trauma. Children shouldn't have to be mature. Children shouldn't have to be adults. Children should enjoy this fleeting, limited, short duration of period where they could be innocent, carefree. But Azuma here is again, because of his parentified, by being constantly compared to his older brother, Junya, because of the conditional love and emotional and verbal abuse of his mother, although Junya revealed that she tries her best, she tries to make all these pancakes the night before her shift because she's incredibly busy as a clinic owner and a physician. He here once again says, I cannot cause any trouble. I can't go look for Shizuka. I have to step up to be a parentified, even though my dad is back to help out the family. That is trauma. And we all know that Shizuka means greatly to Azuma, and Azuma had a crush on her for a long time. So this is not an easy task. And that's the cost of parentification. You're often forced to pick the happiness and the well-being of your family and others before your own. It's not good or bad. Everyone have different circumstances, but still trauma nonetheless. Oh.
どうして今でも静香ちゃんに笑ってほしいんだっぴか。しくて僕は分かんないんだっぴ。なんで悪い子なの。
そりゃそうだろ。そりゃいいとこも悪いとこもあるだろ。お前だってバカじゃん。
That's awesome. What Takopi just said and Azuma's response is the central thesis and the main message of this entire series. Azuma saying that is actually not verbally abusive or hurtful toward Takopi. If anything, it's invalidating. Guys, oftentimes, it's not necessarily what we say, but how we say it. If you look at communications, it's 70% nonverbal, not what we say, not the words we use. It's the subtle cues that reveals more about what we're saying versus what we are actually saying. 70% is nonverbal. Only 30% of human communications is verbal, which is the words we use. In that sense, Azuma was actually validating and being very endearing. When you meet a stranger, you wouldn't call them stupid. You're overly polite and respectful and very nice with a stranger. But with close friends, with people who you're close with, you roast them, you diss each other, you cuss at each other. That's actually a sign of endearing friendship. If you know, you know. But that's what Takopi said. How can people be good and bad at the same time? How can I still want to see Shizuka smile even though she was bad? She hurt me so much. And Azuma is right. Of course we are both. Humans are complex. We cannot be judged by our worst attribute or the worst mistake. How many of you guys here, including myself, done something good and also bad? We can be a great husband, great boyfriend, great partner, great son. But maybe we're lazy at work. We skip out on work. We finesse too much. We don't really care. We're not the best employee. Or vice versa. We're amazing at work, highly productive. Our bosses love us. Great performance review, amazing grades in school for those who are still in school. But maybe we're not the best boyfriends. Like I've had commitment issues for a long time because of my parents' divorce. I didn't believe in love. I didn't know love existed because the only thing I remember growing up for many, many years is my mom and my dad arguing and fighting, throwing things. They were never physically abused, but a lot of verbal and emotional abuses. And I remember hearing that as a child. So I was like, oh, love isn't real. I will never get married because why would I? They just fight every single day. So I had commitment issues until my wife. It took me many, many years of therapy, lots of hard work. lots of introspection, lots of self-evaluation. But now, on the other side of healing is a promised land of hope and possibilities. So it's the same thing. We can all be complex. So let's first approach anyone with non-judgments. Try to have a conversation, because to humanize one another, we must have a conversation. Because the moment we converse with them, they no longer go from that person or they or he or she to, oh, this is a human being just like me. They have complex situations and circumstances and difficulties and invisible struggle just like me. We have to start with non-judgments. We have to humanize them first and then approach them with appropriate consequences. Because when they're doing horrible, cruel things, like what Marina did in the beginning, like what Shizuka was doing towards the end, there needs to be consequences, not to be punitive, but so they learn. We call that consequential thinking. Learning about consequences is very important for that person as well, so they don't repeat the same mistake. They don't get outcasted by society. Not for the sake of punishments, but for future potential rehab. So humans are complex. Please, let's humanize one another.
だってあんまり宿題やってこないし。僕だって。
Azuma is like, Shizuka doesn't do her homework. That's why she's bad. Oh, so funny.
僕が一番。
じゃあどうして東くんは。
それでも。
Oh.
それは友達だったからだ。お前は能天気でバカでゴミだけど優しい。
Jeez. Hmm.
だからありがとうって言いに来たんだ。
Oh.
これお前の道具なんだろ。勝手に持ってって悪かった。返す。やっぱ僕じゃダメだったな。独りよがりでクゼ。きっと助けてあげようなんて思うのが違ったんだ。
No, it wasn't. Oh, that was so heartfelt. But again, I'm very confused. We see that the happy camera gadget that allows them to unwind time and I guess reset regrets, which is the main purpose of that camera, obviously it was broken and covered with blood in the 2016 timeline. But here, the camera was spotless. It wasn't broken. And somehow Azuma took it without Takopi knowing. So which timeline is this right now? Oh, I'm so confused. Is this the 2022 timeline? Is it the alternative timeline? Is it the initial 2016 timeline? What is going on? But also, sounds like now Takopi has reconciled or rather consolidated all of its memories from all those however different timelines it has. I'm so confused with the timeline. But again, just an ad note, of course, Takopi isn't stupid. Like I said, Takopi is a baby, a child based on its pink octopus Happian developmental stages or stages of development. So of course it's not stupid. It just unlearned. It hasn't learned yet. It's ignorance, not because of stupidity, but because lack of exposure and lack of experiences. And Azuma is so well said. He loved spending time with Takopi and Shizuka. And some of those harsh words that Azuma is saying, you guys are like, damn, those were harsh. He was just projecting because he felt like he's an idiot. He feels like he's a worthless trash because that's how he feels with his mom at home. So that's how Azuma feels at home. He's useless. He's trash. He's an idiot. That's why he's just simply projecting that onto Takopi. But focus on the sentiment. Azuma came here to say goodbye and say thank you because he's had so much fun. What's the point of getting all A's and all these things if you don't have meaningful relationships? If when we look back in that chapter, whether it's at work or college or high school, if only thing remembers is stress, the pressure, the competition. Sure, even if you did well, what's the point? Guys, at the end of the day, what a life is two things. Life is simply a series of long conversation. And life is just sequences of memories together. That is what a life is. So memories that we create matters. And how do we create good memories? By having meaningful experiences.
僕はそれしかできなかったけど。
東くん。
もう行かなきゃ。今日も一瞬だけって泣き出してきたんだ。
待ってピ。なんか目のやつ前と違うピね。人間は大きくなると目のやつ形が変わるんだピか。
買ってくれたんだよ。最後のバイト代で。バイトクビになったから。俊也、大学行けないかもしれない。
What happened?
東くん。
What happened? Remember the last thing we saw was Azuma breaking down and finally emptying his stresses and venting and opening up emotionally to Chunya. I'm guessing that Azuma told Chunya about the cover-up, all of these tremendous stresses. I don't know if he included alien octopus Takopi because that's hard to explain, but sounds like Azuma came clean to Chunya because of the mountains of pressure, that invisible pressure that Azuma was so overwhelmed, as we all saw. Knowing Chunya, I will not be surprised that he took on the cover-up and actually maybe went to the police and covered up Azuma's cover-up as if he did the crime. That's why, because to not go to college, being number one in Japan, that is, you have to do some crazy stuff to not be able to go to college. And committing manslaughter or covering a dead body would definitely qualify for that. So that's my guess, that Chunya is taking a fall on behalf of Azuma because Chunya is such an amazing person and a big brother.
ハッピー星にはさ、時間巻き戻せる道具あんだろ。
ピ
How does Azuma know?
もしも次の僕に会うことあったら、言ってやってくれよ。兄貴と喧嘩でもしてみろって。
Oh.
バイバイ、タコピー。
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Please tell the other version of me, don't be afraid of having fights with your big brother. What does that mean? Because arguing and fighting with your siblings is a normal part of growing up, period. But here, maybe he can't do that anymore because Chunya is no longer free. He is in prison.
助けてあげようとするだけじゃ。
Oh, beautiful animation. Whoa. 4 seasons, autumn, winter. Were those news article about Shizuka or was it about Marina? Yeah, who were those 2 girls missing? The kidnapping, was that referring to Shizuka and them? Oh, she still has Chappie's collar. Which timeline is this? Cherry Blossom, beautiful.
静香ちゃん、お話ししたいことがあるんだ。
どいて。保健所にチャッピー探しに行くの。
この人が悲しむピ。人を傷つけるようなことしちゃダメピ。大変なの知ってるピ。だから静か。
Oh, jeez.
じゃあどうすればよかったの？
I've never seen shows that uses purple, which is actually one of my favorite colors, violet, in such a dark matter, but here we are. I just want to talk about the significance of those stars. When they're embracing discomfort, stepping up to their potential, the stars represents us maximizing our potential that's being manifested. Takopi, for the first time in this season finale after 6 episodes, finally learned to validate, emotionally validating Shizuka's unbelievably traumatic upbringing, all the experiences. I know you've been all alone. I know it hasn't been easy. I know you've been sad for so long. P. Emotional validation. Takopi's doing everything we as the audience know it needed to do. Instead of just trying to fix problems, throwing gadgets at problems incessantly, which represents a very outdated mindset and approach. That's the sparkle of light. Takopi finally evolved and is displaying emotional growth. But of course, Shizuka is not about it. That's why we're seeing Shizuka's facial expression getting darker and those sparkles turn into purple. This pressure, this depression, this darkness. The light literally turned dark. That's the metaphor for darkness. And Shizuka steps on it saying, what should I do? Also, I don't know. I mean, I guess Takopis are pretty malleable. It's pretty cushy. So it's not taking too much damage from me stepping on. But of course, we're seeing again Shizuka's transformation as a victim to a perpetrator of violence, because as a victim of violence and she never sought help. And unless you seek help, you will never interrupt and break this cycle of vicious trauma, violent trauma. Because her people, as I've said it throughout.
知らない人みたいな顔で私のこと見てたお父さん。どうすればよかったの?
So this is the original timeline where Shizuka almost struck rock or hit Takopi with a rock. Maybe Takopi escaped last minute out of survival instinct. But sounds like this is the original 2016 timeline because Shizuka is saying that her dad denied her existence. Which again, unspeakable trauma. I can't even imagine as a young child, your biological parents is denying you that you ever existed. Wow.
一人で船に乗っちゃダメって言われたらどうすればよかったの? 大人なんていないのに。ママが帰ってこなくなった時はどうすればよかった? ノートがなくなったらどうすればよかったの? 臭いって言われてもどこが臭いの? ママ教えてくれなかったじゃん。ねえ! パパと好きな時に会えなくなったらどうすればいいの? 授業参観誰も来なくなったらどうすればいいの? チャッピーの声がうるさいってみんなに怒られたらどうしたらいいの? 推しの人呼んでって推しに誰もいなかったらどうしたらいいの? ねえ、こういうこと誰に言えばよかったの? 誰も私のことなんて見てなかったじゃん。ねえ、全部一体どうすればよかったってお前言ってんだよ。わかんないピ。ごめん、静香ちゃん。僕には難しくってわかんないピ。叫んなよ。なんだよそれ。どうしようもないじゃん。触んなよ。ハッピー握手だピ。なんだよ。ごめんね。ごめんね、静香ちゃん。何もしてあげられなくてごめんピ。でも、いつも何かしようとしてごめんピ。静香ちゃんの気持ち、僕全然わかんなかったのに。
Right there. I know this is a very, very emotional and significant scene. I'm sorry for always trying to do something, even when I had no idea what to do. That's bingo. That's another central theme of this entire show. Takopi never just learned to hold space. Takopi didn't learn the importance of validating, acknowledging someone's pain, holding space, and trying to see and hear through Shizuka's invisible struggle. That's why we need to be seen, because when we are heard, when we are acknowledged, when we are seen and felt, our invisible pain and struggle becomes more visible, becomes a little bit more manageable. Still very overwhelming and still very difficult. And there's a lot of work to be had, but become just a little bit more manageable. And that's what Takopi is saying. I'm sorry, I never fully understood. And I just want to shout out Takopi's growth, tremendous evolution. This is this gratifying feeling I'm getting when I watched Violet Evergarden series, which I finished. seeing Violet's tremendous growth from where she started to the amazing doll she has become. I won't spoil the plot besides that in case other people haven't checked it out, but I'm feeling this proud big brother feeling. I had that with watching Violet Evergarden, and I'm having that now with Takopi. And just Takopi's growth can be boiled down to one thing she just said. I don't know P. Our ability to be humble and accept that we don't know everything, we will never fully grasp and understand the other person's trauma, pain, suffering, and unique circumstances. Unique means only they will fully understand. No one else. We can try our best, but we will never fully grasp the gravity of what another person is going through. I don't know. Sounds useless, but it's not. It's actually one of the most powerful things Takopi could have said. Because Takopi is acknowledging that I'm not here as a savior. I'm not here trying to fix your problems, just like I've been trying uselessly in the past. I don't know, but I'm sorry that you're going through all the pain. I don't know, but I'm here sitting with you in this moment, holding space. You can keep hitting me with that sharp rock, but I will not leave you, Shizuka, using the happy handshake by locking her in. So profoundly beautiful and deep.
いつもお話聞かなくてごめんぴ。何も分かろうとしなくてごめんぴ。静香ちゃん、一人にしてごめんぴ。
うるさい。うるさい。
静香ちゃん、そんなこと。
Oh. Oh man. Oh, that was rough. I'm not gonna say too much because that scene encapsulates everything I just said. But we see the fruit and the effort of Takopi coming to fruition and being validated. Shizuka, for the first time in her just unbelievably stressful, traumatizing youth and life, for the first time in Shizuka's life, she felt seen for the first time, feel heard for the first time, feel validated, feel seen, and felt accepted for the first time. Despite the physical abuse, despite the misplaced violence, Shizuka just learned and felt firsthand that she is not alone. Takopi is the first companion besides Chappie who did not leave Shizuka. Despite the ups, despite the downs, through the power of physical touch, through the power of hug and physical space, Takopi just demonstrated to Shizuka that, hey, I don't know, but I'm here with you. You've suffered alone enough. You've suffered long enough, but you will never suffer by yourself ever again. Why? Because I am here with you. Shizuka putting down the rock, that is such a profound portrayal of her finally letting go of violence, trying to do the first step of interrupting this vicious trauma loop. She now just made her first steps to retransform back from a perpetrator to a victim to now hopefully seeker of help. Because victim can also be an identity. That's the victim mindset. And this is very tricky, but I'll say this before resuming. Please hear me loud and clear. This is a very delicate statement. All of us are victims of circumstances that are larger than we are, that we call life. But we don't have to be victims of our circumstances. We have power. We can choose empowerment. Rely on our community, our friends, our own Takopis in our lives, professionals, mental health experts. All of us are victims of our circumstances, but we don't have to be or become victims. We are much more than victims of our circumstances. All of us have endless possibilities to renew and chances and hopes and possibilities. If we can interrupt our trauma loop and step out to seek help, to get better, as long as we do not give up. That's what we're seeing right here, beautifully so.
ごめんね静香ちゃん
Oh, beautiful song. Sorry for muting, for copyright, but beautiful, beautiful song. We see that it's kind of hard to see, but if you zoom in onto Shizuka's face, you can see her mouth is wide open. That means she's been sobbing and crying nonstop. And I can't even imagine how cathartic that was and how much healing Shizuka took away from this releasing and cleansing session. She pretty much just had a pseudo therapy session with Takopi, because doesn't matter what sort of modalities and specialties and training and schools we psychotherapists go to, but our first thing and the first pillar and the first duty that all good psychotherapists do is riding that emotional wave without judgments, without giving advice, just riding that emotional wave out. No matter how difficult the circumstances our clients are going through, just riding that wave, walking that path of pain together in solidarity. That's the primary job of a psychotherapist. And that is what Takopi did for and with Shizuka. Beautiful. Oh. I like how well prepared, just how meticulous Azuma is. In that secret notebook that we just saw, he even had a fail-safe 500 yen. So, and obviously they use that to buy bread and so on, because mom's not coming home, sounds like. Obviously dad is still absent as usual. But again, the focus is now Shizuka's is walking her life. Despite the unknown, despite the uncertainties, despite other pending challenges, because life is comprised of challenges, period. But she's not doing it alone this time. She's doing it with Takopi. And we're even seeing Takopi using her pink alien arms and cutting Shizuka's hair, I guess, sitting at the bench. So heartfelt. Again, this show has, just like K-drama, has mastered just dopamine dump, dopamine hijack, just emotional ups and downs. It's like tsunami of emotions. I literally cried. I cussed out of excitement. Now I'm laughing because of how wholesome and comical the show can be. The show's mastered the ingredients of capturing our attention. I really hope this show wins the animated of the year. It's so deep. Such a powerful experience. They're at the sea.
静香ちゃん僕幸せだっぴこんな風に静香ちゃんと二人でずっと一緒にいられてそれで
Shizuka still crying. Imagine the years of pent-up frustration, learned helplessness, powerlessness, hopelessness, and whatever other words you want to add in. Imagine the unfathomable amount of emotions Shizuka's been pent up and holding it inside. She's releasing all those years of pent-up energies and sadness and brokenness. It's such healing for Shizuka. I'm so happy for her. and Takopi,
それでね
the true main character of the show.
実は静香ちゃんに見せたいとっておきの道具があるんだっぴ。
So real quick, obviously Takopi is now going to show Shizuka another happy gadget. Sounds like this, the camera. Some people might be wondering, oh no, Takopi's back to its old days, trying to go back to fixing, providing gadgets, throwing things at problems. Not quite. I never said trying to offer solutions and trying to be helpful, trying to problem solve is bad. I never said that. I just said it's missing a crucial ingredient first. We first must validate, hold space, be an emotional companion first. And then, when it's appropriate, based on the situation and how the other person feels, and then if the other person's willing, by getting consent, we call that informed consent. We do that as psychotherapists. Before we try to do clinical interventions, before we try to offer solutions or resources or fancy techniques, we always ask, or at least I do, I always get informed consent. Informing the clients about what I'm about to do, what this is about, and by getting the consent that, hey, are you open for this? No pressure. I'm all about proposal or proposing, but I never impose because I am the expert of what I do, but clients and individuals are always the experts of their own lives. Full stop. That's what Takopi is doing. After the emotional validation, after all that healing that took place, now Takopi is like, hey, by the way, I just want to show you something. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
ハッピーカメラ
Happy camera.
で写真を撮ってカメラに読み込ませると撮った瞬間に戻ることができるんだっぴ。今は壊れちゃってもう動く。
Oh, it's still broken?
でもね静香ちゃん実は思い出してたんだっぴ。一つだけ僕だから君にしてあげられること。
待って
僕のハッピー力。
待って
これを犠牲にすれば
待って
もう一度だけカメラが使えること。
待って待ってタコピーまでいなくな
What the?
一緒にいられて
Goosebumps.
幸せだったっぴ。でも本当に欲しいものが手に入るように。静香ちゃんありがとう。一緒に
What?
遊んでくれて。
What?
あの時パンをくれてありがとう。
Holy guacamole, mother of God. Whoa, I did not see that coming. Holy crap. I literally just talked about there's nothing wrong with being helpful and offering solutions and problem solving after emotional validation. I never thought Takopi to the other extreme. The peak of being helpful, the peak of problem solving, peak of love, self-sacrifice. If you're old to my channel or new, welcome both, of course. But as some of you guys know, my background is I'm a Christian. So a lot of my perspective is based on the Abrahamic Judeo-Christian perspective. Again, I never impose my perspective. Like, I don't know if God is real. I can never prove. There is no empirical evidence because I'm a social scientist. But to me, believing in God is helpful for me, to inspires me to a better person, better neighbor, better husbands, better son, better bigger brother. That's why I choose to believe in God, despite there is no empirical proof. But hey, as long as you're a good person, you're living your life in a meaningful way, who cares, right? But I'm only talking about my background because self-sacrifice is the highest virtue of love. And let me make this loud and clear. Love requires sacrifice. If anyone says they love something or love someone, you need to sacrifice. So anytime anyone that says I love you or I love my friends, prove it. Love requires sacrifice. Sacrificing time, resources, energy, some combination thereof. And the highest virtue of sacrifice is actually self-sacrifice. Sacrificing our life. That's the virtue that Jesus demonstrated. Jesus sacrificed his own life for the sake of sinners or other people. That's the core principle of Christianity, which is what I believe in, right? So again, whether God is real or not, doesn't matter. The point is self-sacrificing, sacrificing our own being and our life for the sake of other people. That is the highest, that's the pinnacle of love. That's what Takopi just demonstrated. And I'm seeing a lot of references and even Easter eggs, pun intended, with Takopi's original sin and Judeo-Christian perspective. I talked about it in episode 3 when I predicted correctly the meaning behind the original sin, disobedience. Just like Adam and Eve disobeying God's commands of not eating out of the Garden of Eden, which is the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Because when Adam and Eve bit that forbidden fruit of knowledge by disobeying God's commands, they fell from innocence and grace. They learned about greed, lust. Knowledge is not a bad thing, but it comes at a cost. For Adam and Eve, it's the cost of their innocence. Same thing for Takopi. The original sin is the disobedience, and it lost its innocence. That's why I learned about the cruelty of the human experiences, but also the joy of the human condition. And here, self-sacrifice. This is definitely a nod to Jesus and the biblical or the theological perspective I talked about. But that's what Takopi demonstrated beautifully. It sacrificed its own life by transforming its life into the happy power for one last time to unwind happy camera so Shizuka can go back to the time with Chappie. Takopi laid down its life to fulfill its mission, to spread happiness and to see Shizuka having the biggest smile, to see Shizuka smile again. It's so amazing what Takopi did. But of course, at the same time, that could be another trauma for Shizuka. She is abandoned yet again. But thankfully, with this rewind, she won't remember that timeline and the entire thing is reset. So that trauma has been, I guess, avoided. But wow, I did not expect this. This show is crazy, y'all. Unfreaking believable.
あれなんだっけ
Episode 6 is called To All of You in 2016. So now we are at a new timeline that is in continuation of the original 26 timeline, I'm guessing.
静香ちゃん起きて。
How's Takopi talking or communicating with, where is that voice coming from? Chappie's back.
今日はとってもいい。
What is going on? Where is this voice coming from?
寄生虫。この子はマリナちゃん。今日も静。 見つけてないんだ。
So yeah, this is a deja vu because this is the original plot and timeline. And the fact that Marina said that you're not wearing the flower, and a shout out to that viewer, I forgot your name because there's so many comments. You said that this specific flower in Japanese floral culture represents resilience. That's amazing. Thanks for pointing that out. And I do read all my comments because you guys share very, very insightful thoughts and context about the show. So it's such a fitting flower design for Shizuka because Shizuka and Marina, although in a very dysfunctional, broken way, they both represent resilience. Children, survivors of trauma, endurers of trauma, are all resilient, just like many of us. Many of us are more resilient than we give ourselves credits to. So the fact that Marina is like, oh, you're not wearing that flower today means Shizuka's known about Takopi, and Takopi already existed in this original timeline, which we know. because I think 6 days prior, that's when Shizuka found Takopi in that little sewage pipe, if my memory serves me correctly.
あれ今日はってどこだ
Hmm?
君の話もしなきゃだっぴね。東くん。
それで昨日兄ちゃんと喧嘩して。
東くんちプレステ4あるの
あるけど。
すげえいいな一緒にやろうよ
We see this. Oh, this is amazing. I'm guessing the way this episode is gonna close out and to wrap up season 1 as a season finale is Takopi being the narrator, which is an interesting transition because Takopi is the protagonist, because Takopi is the one that witnesses all this happening through different perspective. And then to now, Takopi is the narrator. It's almost as if Takopi is now breaking out of this 4D dimension and becoming like viewers, but even a step further by narrating all this happening from this 30,000 perspective view, almost like a god in a weird sense. But it's almost like the ending is like all these happy endings. I think all of these stories, like Marina stopping her verbal abuse and berating Shizuka when she's like, I said today, is also Marina maybe getting better at her bullying tendency, and now Azuma feeling belonged, finding other friends besides Shizuka, carrying things outside of just grades and appeasing and trying to seek the approval of his very conditionally loved mother. By talking about PS4, we saw that spark, that star in Azuma's eyes. It's like, oh my gosh, they want to play with me. And it's so funny that out of the whole story about I got into a big fight with my big brother for the first time yesterday because PS4. And all the other kids like, PS4? Oh my gosh. Because as we know, Azuma is from like an upper middle class affluent family because his mother is a physician. And PS4 is very expensive, especially for a lot of children with lower socioeconomic statuses. So I think we're seeing all these happy endings and all these through lines and strings being connected. That's amazing, actually. Wow. Whoa, that's a cool animation.
そう。君はいつも一人だった。そしてそれは君も同じだった。
Marina, also been
いい加
alone.
減にしろよ寄生虫お前がいるからママは毎日泣いてパパは毎日怒って
Also, I just want to pause because it's not a pleasant sight to see, obviously, bullying, seeing Marina, who's broken, bullying and beating the crap out of another broken person, Shizuka. It just hit me. Just like now, Takopi is a narrator who is the observer of everything happening. All these abuses, all these bullying, all these situations in the playgrounds. What was there the whole time as a constant? Time. And what is the representation of time in this show? The clock. So I think that clock symbolizes a witness, a constant witness to everything that is unfolding.
全部お前のせいだ全部返してよあの頃のパパとママを
Oh gosh.
私の家族を
ごめんね。
Huh? What just happened?
マリナ何それわかんないなんか適当なや
Catastrophically stupid.
ゴミクソって感じでも何かしそう
Whoa, goosebumps.
絶対帰んないの
Hold on, does this mean that through the picture of Takopi, again, did Takopi influence Shizuka to draw that Takopi doodle? with the supernatural power, the happy and alien power. But it looks like after seeing Takopi's doodle, memories are coming back to Shizuka and Marina, because everything they're talking, it's garbage, it's utterly useless, but it talks endlessly, it follows you, it's cute. You see what I'm saying? Sounds like the memories are coming back. Sounds like their memories were activated, which is a very psychologically sound, by the way, because like I said before, memories are not quite recalled because it's not really stored in like a physical storage space like a CPU. It's through synapses of our brains, neurons firing, right? It calls back and reconstructs different memories based on smell, taste. When you have a delicious food, it might remind me of your cooking your grandma used to cook for you or your mom used to cook for you. When you go to the beach for your first date with your girlfriend or boyfriends. When you go back many, many years later as husbands and wives, or even as a friends, the memories come back. Euphoric recall, definition right here. So stimuli, things, sights, triggers and activates our memories. That is what's happening here. Through the doodle of Takopi, their memories are activated. And although they don't quite really sure what this catastrophically stupid doodle is, hilarious terminology, their memories are coming back because they're describing Takopi as if they've known Takopi all this time.
かなのに何もしてくれないのに喋ってばっかり
そうそう
Happiness is born through talking, and this is exactly what I said previously. To humanize one another, we must have a conversation. And what is conversation? Talking.
それが一番大切なこと
Oh.
かんないよ
僕が忘れてしまっていた一番大切な約束
So Takopi's original sin is disobedience, but it broke the core principle of happiness. Happiness is born out of talking. And we saw the mother, it was also hurt emotionally because Takopi never talked to the mother before the escape. Talking, conversations, having a dialogue. Conversations and talking is a bridge that connects humans, connects different relationships. Without talking, without conversations, there is no relationship. That's the title?
してあげられないことだらけだ 何にもできないけれどそれでも君が
You just have some eye boogers.
君が大人になれるようにありがとう
Arigato.
バイ
Bye bye.
何見てんだよ
Just project what Takopi just said onto a massive messaging board. I hope you're not alone. And I hope you grow into adulthood together. What does that mean? I hope you stay alive. I hope you live. I hope you don't give up. I hope you never give up till you see the day as an adult and knows that it gets easier eventually as long as we stay alive. And even if it doesn't get easier based on your complex circumstances, that's okay too. But as an adult, you have more resources, you have more abilities, and you have more resilience and capacity to deal with the struggle that you once thought were impossible to deal with and manage as a child. I hope you step into the adulthood together, Marina and Shizuka. And I could foresee Shizuka and Marina becoming best of friends. And I could relate with this. I went through a lot of bullying in high school as well because I was one of the only 2 Asian kids in my white school. I went to a boarding high school in San Diego. And I was bullied a lot my freshman year. I was chubby. So that was another reason for bullying. My English wasn't really as good because I didn't come to the US until I was 15 years old. So I was bullied a lot. But I learned that a lot of bullies are also hurt people who are neglected at home, who are lonely, who are suffering, like everything I talked about. That's why I know bullying so well. That's why I know psychology behind bullying so well. Not just because of my clinical expertise as a psychotherapist, but also because of my own first-hand experiences. But some of the harshest bullies I've went through, I was dumped into trash can, right? I was just went through a lot. Some of them became my best friends through conversations. I asked, why are you doing this to me? And I learned that, oh, they're also hurt themselves. They were lonely, just like I was, because I was a boarding high school, 4,000 miles away from my parents. And I could see the same thing happening with Shizuka and Marina. I think they're going to become best of friends because they're both broken. They both come from broken and dysfunctional family. They're both lonely and alone, but no more through the love and emotional maturity and growth of Takopi.
なんでもない。
See, they're walking home together. Wow, I don't think I've ever clapped after a show recently. Oh my gosh. Let's see. All right, looks like there's post-credit scenes. What was this? Learn from Marvel series? Cherry Blossom, Beautiful Blue Sky. They look like they're older now. Chappie's
だ
back.
からさ、うち今日ママやばそうだからケーキ買って帰る。
マリナちゃんのママいっつもやばいじゃん。
Oof.
誰のせいだと思ってんだよ。お前んちよりはマシ。
Yo, did you see Shizuka just literally dodging Marina's kick? First of all, that reflex. But secondly, it means they've been really good friends and companions for a long time. Because Marina used to kick Takopi, right? In that 2022 timeline. And yeah, it means now Shizuka has acclimated into Marina's, I guess, style. And that's why she was able to dodge with ease. But look at them. They're venting together. They're sharing. They're very intimate with each other. I called it. Now they're best of best friends.
私アイシャドウ買いたい。聞けよ。
待って、これなんかに似てない？
Takopi!
なんだっけ？あの。
土星ウサギのボール
What?
ペンって何それ？
Did you see Marina's scar? Yo, I just got goosebumps. So even with different time traveling in different universes, some strings of events are inevitable. Sounds like Marina still inevitably gets cut by broken glasses by her mom. And sounds like today is a rough day. But again, it's so much more bearable and manageable because Marina is not alone. And Shizuka is also no longer alone. They have each other. A growing community of unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. Because you deserve to be loved. I deserve to be loved. All of us deserve to be loved. We are worthy. We are humans and we matter.
知るかよ。お前が言ったんじゃん。
Oh, Takopi's playgrounds. Oh, just another round of applause. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, nothing to be said. I don't even know. I'm going through a world of emotions, whirlwinds of emotions. Episode 1 was brutal.
Flashback.
That's the ribbon. Oh,
End of flashback.
but then I immediately caught on and saw the thesis and the main point of this show, how deep it is, how psychologically sound and accurate it is. I could gauge the amount of extensive and deep research the writers done. I'm sure they consulted with psychologists, psychotherapists like myself to make this as accurately, as relatably, as deep as it is. It's truly amazing. It's such a powerful show. Yeah, I loved finishing the show with you guys. I appreciate you finishing the show with me. I hope you took away from my insightful analysis, because I don't do shallow content. I really want to educate people, but also be entertaining at the same time. Can you do me one favor before you leave? Make sure you're subscribed so you receive and see my videos in your time feed. Otherwise, you will miss out on my next series. Also, comment what's one thing that you're taking away from my video. And do you have any other questions? I will be sure to respond to your comments with more resources and whatever questions you may be to continue help you and provide you with valuable education and information. Till next time, appreciate you and peace. Remember, you matter. Please don't give up. You deserve to be loved. Peace.